The Iron Curtain was descending, dividing east and west, marking the dawn of the Cold War. In the summer of 1948, Czechoslovakian Airlines faced a new threat: political hijacking. Three pilots, driven by a desire for freedom, hatched a daring plan to hijack their own planes. In 1948, Czechoslovakia's vibrant democracy was crushed under Soviet influence, with fear and oppression becoming the norm. Despite fear, whispers of resistance grew among intellectuals and artists. Three pilots, Karel Duda, Josef Kovar and Václav Procházka, were drawn to the idea of defiance. United by desperation, the three pilots planned to hijack their planes, risking everything for a chance at freedom. They were determined to seize their destiny, even if it meant flying into the unknown. In a secret meeting, the pilots meticulously planned their escape, targeting a Douglas DC-3 to fly to Munich. They knew one wrong move could spell disaster, but they were united by their dream of freedom. As the day of escape approached, the pilots carried the burden of secrecy, knowing their actions could have devastating consequences. They were determined to succeed, to inspire others to fight for their freedom. On July 31st, the pilots boarded their planes, their hearts pounding with fear and determination. As the wheels lifted off, they knew the most dangerous part of their journey had just begun. Duda informed his co-pilot of the change in plan, revealing their true destination, Munich. The fate of the flight now balanced on a knife's edge. Duda's announcement of the new destination caused confusion and fear among the passengers. The lives of dozens of souls were about to intersect, their fates intertwined by an audacious act of defiance. The stewards, usually the epitome of calm, now moved through the cabin with forced composure, their faces betraying their own anxieties. They struggled to maintain order. A young couple, their faces pale with apprehension, huddled together, their fingers intertwined, seeking solace in their shared fear. Their fate, like everyone else on board, rested in the hands of the hijackers. In the heart of the plane, students returning from a summer exchange program buzzed with nervous excitement. They had witnessed the stifling reality of life behind the Iron Curtain and the suppression of free thought. The hijacking, though terrifying, represented a slim possibility of reaching the West, a world they had only glimpsed through forbidden books and whispered stories. An old woman, her face etched with wisdom, sat calmly, her gnarled hands clasped in her lap, eyes closed. She had witnessed the horrors of war and the resilience of the human spirit. She knew that fear was a powerful weapon, but hope, even in the darkest of times, could not be extinguished. The atmosphere in the cabin remained volatile, a powder keg of emotions waiting for a spark. The passengers, stripped of their illusions of control, were forced to confront their own mortality as the plane sped westward towards an uncertain destiny. In the cockpit, the tension crackled like static electricity. Duda radioed Prague Control Tower, informing them of the changed flight path. He had crossed a line and there would be consequences. The response was immediate, a torrent of angry demands and threats. The Iron Curtain loomed ahead, a barrier separating east from west. Czechoslovakian Air Force jets scrambled to intercept the rogue aircraft. The passengers, oblivious to the drama, remained trapped in their own anxieties. Duda tightened his grip on the controls, his knuckles white against the worn leather. They were flying into the heart of the storm, and the world held its breath. Every jolt of turbulence sent a shiver of apprehension through the passengers. Suspended between two worlds, the reality was sinking in. The Iron Curtain was now a tangible presence, separating captivity from liberation. In the cockpit, Duda's eyes darted between the instruments and the storm clouds. The radio crackled with the chilling voice of a Czechoslovakian Air Force pilot. Orders were barked, threats veiled yet potent. Duda adjusted the heading, steering the DC-3 closer to freedom. Fuel was running low, a stark reminder of the ticking clock. Every mile covered was a victory, every minute closer to Munich, a testament to their resolve. A collective gasp rippled through the cabin as the passengers glimpsed the unmistakable silhouette of American fighter planes approaching. Their silver wings glinted in the sunlight, piercing through the gloom of the storm clouds, their presence both intimidating and reassuring. Word spread like wildfire. The Americans had intercepted them. Were they to be their saviors or their captors? In the cockpit, Duda felt a knot of tension tighten in his chest. The American pilots radioed in, their voices calm, professional, a stark contrast to the frantic demands of their Czechoslovakian counterparts. They requested confirmation of the situation, their questions measured, their tone neutral, yet there was an underlying steeliness that commanded respect. Duda, his voice raspy with exhaustion and the weight of responsibility, recounted their daring escape, his words measured, his tone resolute. He made it clear that their intentions were peaceful, their only goal to seek asylum, to escape the suffocating grip of the communist regime. Minutes stretched into an eternity as they awaited the Americans' decision. The fate of the passengers, their dreams of freedom, hung precariously on the response. Finally, the radio crackled back to life, the American pilot's voice a beacon of hope cutting through the static. "You are clear to land in Munich. Welcome to the West." The wheels of the DC-3 kissed the tarmac of Munich's Riem airport, a symphony to the weary passengers. A collective sigh of relief, disbelief and exhilaration swept through the cabin. Against all odds, they had escaped tyranny, rewarded with the sweet taste of freedom. As the plane taxied to a halt, the enormity of their achievement washed over Duda. American officials, faces etched with curiosity and admiration, waited on the tarmac. The cabin door opened, and a rush of fresh air, heavy with the scent of rain and freedom, flooded the plane. As they stepped onto the tarmac, some wept, others laughed, their emotions raw, their faces etched with joy. News of the daring hijacking spread like wildfire across the globe. Headlines screamed of courage and defiance, challenging the Iron Curtain. The world, still reeling from World War II, was captivated by this act of resistance. In the West, the hijacking was hailed as a triumph of the human spirit, a powerful symbol of the yearning for freedom behind the Iron Curtain. Politicians praised the pilots' bravery, a propaganda coup for the West. The hijacking highlighted the contrast between Western freedoms and communist oppression. Behind the Iron Curtain, the reaction was fury and embarrassment. The regime denounced the hijacking as an act of piracy. The pilots were branded as traitors by state-controlled media. The hijacking heightened tensions between East and West. It inspired a wave of similar escape attempts. The daring escape of the Czechoslovakian DC-3 changed the Cold War landscape. The successful hijacking of the Czechoslovakian DC-3 sent shockwaves through the world of aviation. No longer could the skies be considered a neutral space, a serene expanse where nations coexisted peacefully. The Iron Curtain, that ideological barrier that divided East and West, now extended thousands of feet into the air, casting a long shadow over international air travel. The incident served as a wake-up call, a stark reminder that the Cold War was not confined to the battlefields of ideology or the halls of diplomacy. It could erupt anywhere, anytime, even amidst the clouds. The vulnerability of commercial aviation to political acts, to desperate acts of defiance and calculated acts of aggression was now glaringly apparent. The response was swift and multifaceted. Western nations, eager to prevent similar incidents from threatening their citizens and undermining their interests, began to reassess their aviation security protocols. The once routine process of boarding a flight, once characterized by a casual informality, began to take on a more somber, security-conscious tone. The stakes had been raised, and the world of aviation would never be the same. The skies, once a symbol of freedom and limitless possibility, were now also a potential battleground. a high-stakes arena where the Cold War played out in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Espionage takes flight, a new breed of passenger. The Czechoslovakian hijacking ushered in a new era of suspicion and paranoia within the world of aviation. Every passenger, every piece of luggage, every flight crew member was now viewed with a heightened sense of scrutiny. The friendly skies had taken on a decidedly more sinister edge, the atmosphere thick with unspoken anxieties. Intelligence agencies on both sides of the Iron Curtain recognized the strategic potential of commercial aviation. Planes were not just vehicles for transporting people and goods, they were also potential weapons, tools of espionage, and platforms for propaganda. A new breed of passenger emerged: the undercover agent, the double agent, the spy disguised as a tourist or businessman, their true allegiances hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. Airports became theatres of intrigue, the bustling crowds and seemingly mundane routines masking a hidden world of clandestine meetings, coded messages, and high-stakes deceptions. The stakes were high, the consequences of discovery potentially deadly. The skies were no longer a place of escape. They were a stage for a dangerous game of international intrigue, where the players were often invisible and the rules were constantly changing. The legacy of Defiant's aviation security transformed. The daring escape of the Czechoslovakian DC-3 left an indelible mark on the world of aviation security. The incident exposed vulnerabilities, challenged assumptions, and forced a fundamental reassessment of how to protect passengers, crew, and aircraft from those who would exploit the skies for political or ideological ends. The years following the hijacking witnessed a steady evolution of security protocols and technologies. Metal detectors, once a novelty, became ubiquitous, their presence a constant reminder of the potential for violence and disruption. Baggage screening procedures were enhanced, with X-ray machines and sniffer dogs deployed to detect hidden threats. Airports themselves underwent a transformation, their layouts redesigned, their security perimeters fortified, their staff trained to be vigilant against a wide range of potential threats. The days of casually strolling through an airport terminal, of bidding farewell to loved ones at the gate, were gone, replaced by a more impersonal, security-conscious environment. The legacy of the Czechoslovakian hijacking is still felt today, in the long lines at security checkpoints, the intrusive pat-downs, and the ever-evolving arsenal of security technologies. While the Cold War may be over, the threat to aviation remains, a constant reminder that the skies, though a symbol of freedom and interconnectedness, are also a potential target, a vulnerable point in a world grappling with complex geopolitical challenges. A ripple effect across time. The daring escape of the Czechoslovakian DC-3 in 1948 was more than a hijacking. It was a watershed moment in aviation history. It exposed the vulnerability of the skies to political acts, highlighting how easily the delicate fabric of international travel could be torn apart by ideological conflicts. The incident served as a stark reminder that even in the aftermath of a devastating world war, the quest for peace and stability remained elusive. The event sent ripples across the world, impacting aviation security protocols, fueling Cold War tensions, and inspiring countless others yearning for freedom. The images of the plane touching down in Munich, the passengers and crew greeted by a mix of disbelief and relief, became etched in the collective memory of a world grappling with the complexities of a divided Europe. The hijacking also highlighted the moral complexities of a world caught in the throes of ideological conflict. While the pilots were hailed as heroes in the West, symbols of courageous defiance against communist oppression, they were branded as traitors in their homeland, their actions condemned as a betrayal of their nation. The incident served as a stark reminder that history is often written by the victors, and that even acts of extraordinary courage can be subject to conflicting interpretations. The enduring spirit of freedom. The legacy of the 1948 Czechoslovakian hijacking extends far beyond aviation. It serves as a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the yearning for freedom. The three pilots risked their lives to escape a totalitarian regime. They became a beacon of hope for those trapped behind the Iron Curtain, a reminder that the human spirit cannot be extinguished. The hijacking inspired countless others to seek freedom and fight for a better future. The pursuit of liberty is an ongoing struggle passed from one generation to the next. The human spirit's yearning for freedom can never be truly silenced.